The water is loud, not calm, not gentle, but violent. A young king is sinking inside it, his crown slipping. His heavy battle armor pulls him under, and his hand reaches out, not to his soldiers, not to his army, but to one person, his sister. She stands at the riverbank, still, watching. She doesn't move. She doesn't shout. She doesn't save him. And the strangest part is this. He's not afraid of her. He trusts her so much. Even now, even as the water fills his lungs, even as his body disappears beneath the surface, you may be asking yourself, why is he drowning? That's not the right question. The real question is, why does he believe she would save him? Because just months earlier, everything was different. They were not enemies. They were partners, family. So how did trust turn into silence? How did hope turn into death? How did a brother drown while his sister watched? And how did that sister become one of the most powerful women in history? After it happened,
thank you.
You see, before the water, there was a throne. And the throne of Egypt was empty because their father had just died. Egypt needed rulers immediately. Cleopatra was young. Her brother, even younger. But the throne of Egypt did not wait for them to grow. So they were forced to rule together, side by side, brother and sister, king and queen, Cleopatra and Ptolemy XIII. But that sounds peaceful until you ask yourself a very simple question. Can two people truly share power equally? Because power does not like to be shared. It pulls, divides, and whispers. And inside the palace, those whispers had names. Royal advisors. Men who were supposed to guide the young king and queen, but instead turned their guidance into control. Cleopatra watched carefully. She learned quickly, and she realized this man could not be trusted. But her brother would only realize this at the very end. So while Cleopatra questioned their loyalty, her brother, the young king, trusted them. And that small difference became everything. Because the advisors made a promise, not to Cleopatra, to her brother. They told him something simple, something believable, something dangerous, something that would end up leading him here. They said to him, your sister wants to take everything from you. At first, he did not believe it because she was family, his blood. They ruled together, trusted each other. But slowly, doubt started creeping in. Because doubt does not need proof. It only needs repetition. So they repeated it again and again. She's stronger. She's smarter. She will replace you. And slowly, his doubt turned to fear. He now feared that if he waits, he will lose everything to his sister. So he listened to the voices of his advisors, the only voices that could protect him. Or so he thought. And that's where his advisors became the true kings from the shadows, because they now fully controlled the one who wore the crown through the art of manipulation. And he had no idea what was really going on. And so he made his first move as their puppet, a document placed by the royal advisors in front of a boy king. He was told, sign. He hesitated, but fear moves faster than hesitation. So he signed. And in that moment, Cleopatra was no longer the queen. Her name was removed, her power stripped, her guards dismissed. So Cleopatra had to run from Egypt. She had lost her throne, her guards, and her safety. But she was not running away forever, because she understood something important. Power taken by deception can be gotten back by strategy. So she fled to Syria to gather mercenaries. She built an army. She prepared herself to return for battle. But then, she realized Egypt was too strong for her forces alone. She needed a stronger ally behind her to ensure the victory. So she went for the strongest ally, Rome. But at the time, one of the most powerful men in Rome was already on his way to Egypt. His name was Pompey. He had once commanded mighty armies. He had stood equal to Julius Caesar. But now, he had lost everything, defeated, exiled, desperate. So he came to Egypt to hide, hoping Egypt would protect him. Egypt welcomed him. They smiled. They promised safety. But behind those smiles was Pothinus, one of the young king's royal advisors. And Pothinus had a plan. He planned to kill Pompey because Julius Caesar and Pompey had an argument at the time. So he thought, if we kill him, Julius Caesar will reward us greatly. And the young king conceded to his plan. So they betrayed Pompey by detaching his head. Within minutes, Pompey was dead, killed by the very people who promised to protect him. And in that moment, everything changed. Egypt thought they had gained Caesar's trust, but they had done the very opposite. When Caesar arrived in Egypt and saw Pompey's head, he was furious. Even though Pompey had been his rival, Pompey was still a Roman statesman, equal to him at the time. In Caesar's eye, only Romans had the right to judge one of their own. By killing Pompey, Egypt had not only disrespected the Roman authority, but Caesar himself. Caesar was enraged. Cleopatra understood this. Where others made a mistake, she saw an opportunity. But there was a problem. She could not just walk into the palace in Egypt where Caesar was because her enemies controlled it. So she did something daring. She hid inside a rolled carpet carried as a gift and placed before Caesar. And when the carpet was opened, there she was, not weak, not afraid, but confident. Cleopatra did not beg. She negotiated. She offered Caesar Egypt's loyalty, wealth, and total allegiance. And Caesar accepted. And just like that, everything was about to turn around. This was no longer family conflict between brother and sister. This was Egypt versus Rome. Pothinus was captured and executed, but the damage he had created remained because the young king was still trapped inside the decision he had already made. War erupted. The city shook. Smoke filled the air. People ran. Soldiers clashed. And somewhere inside the chaos, the boy king realized something. This was no longer about control. This was survival. So he ran, not as a ruler, but as a boy, towards the only place that looked like escape, the Nile, where boats were waiting. Soldiers rushed on board, pushing and shouting. Too many men, too much weight, too much fear. The boat tipped. Men fell. Their armor dragged them under. And the boy king lost his balance. Then he fell into the water. Suddenly, everything slowed. The noise faded. The chaos disappeared. He was drowning. His battle armor dragged him under. His crown slipped away. And so he reaches out, not to his generals, not to his army, but to one person, his sister, Cleopatra. Because even now, after everything, he still believed she would save him because she was his sister, because once she stood beside him, because he never stopped trusting her. He only feared her wrath. And now, he's about to face it. He reaches out, but Cleopatra stood there, still watching, not as his sister, but as a ruler. And rulers make hard choices. Saving him would undo everything she had fought for. So fate had already decided his end. The water of the Nile closed over him. His crown disappeared, and the boy king was gone. Just like that, the war ended. Only one ruler remained, the Queen Cleopatra, one of the most powerful
Queen of
women
Egypt.
in history.
Thank
And in
you.
the end, the most dangerous betrayal is not the ones done by enemies. It's the ones carried out by the people you trust the most, right at the moment you believe they will save you. But in this story, who really is to blame? Cleopatra, the naive young king, or his royal advisors? I would leave that to you to decide. I hope you still remember. This is Betrayal History. See you in the next one.